My name is Donna Quinn, 32 years old. I just finished balancing my budget spreadsheet for the month when the ping of an incoming video message broke the quiet. I was halfway through a forkful of microwave lasagna, my dinner routine after another long shift at the logistics office. Bills, deadlines, the same quiet apartment humming with the sound of the refrigerator. 4 years of this rhythm, tight but predictable. Every month, $2,000 wired to my mother's account. Every month, the same two-word acknowledgement. Got it. No emojis, no thank yous. Just proof that the debt, whatever invisible one I owed, was being serviced. Dad had died when I was 8. Mom had raised me and my sister Candace by herself, or that's what she told people. What I remember was a childhood of long hospital shifts, a fridge covered with other people's children's faces from Mom's nursing unit, and a sister who learned early that beauty could buy affection. I learned that competence could rent it, temporarily. 4 years ago, Mom had called in tears. The bank's threatening foreclosure, Donna. They'll take the house if I miss another payment. She'd worked 40 years at the hospital, but retirement hit her like a trapdoor. $2,000 a month, she'd whispered, as if afraid the number itself could collapse her. I did the math before the guilt could catch up. My rent, utilities, bus fare, maybe $300 left over. Still, I said yes, because the house wasn't just hers. It was the place Dad's laughter used to live. I cut back on everything, sold my car, took the bus through summer heat that smelled of asphalt and exhaust, made coffee at home, packed rice and boiled eggs for lunch, told myself it was temporary, that love sometimes looked like sacrifice in a spreadsheet. The message from Uncle Martin blinked again on my phone. He was Mom's younger brother, the family cameraman. Birthdays, funerals, Thanksgiving speeches, he documented it all. The thumbnail showed Mom's dining table crowded with plates. My chest tightened. I hadn't been invited to whatever event this was. I pressed play. The room flickered alive. Candace's husband laughed. Aunt Deborah poured wine. Cousins passed dishes. At the head of the table sat Mom, shoulders square, her silver hair catching the chandelier's light. Uncle Martin's voice came from behind the camera. Donna's generous with that mortgage money. $2,000 a month for 4 years. That's a lot. Mom's voice sliced through the clinking silverware. Donna owes me. I raised her, didn't I? 18 years under my roof. She's just paying it back. Laughter burst around the table. Candace's voice followed, soft but lethal. She's always been desperate to prove her worth. Kind of pathetic, really. Aunt Deborah chimed in. At least she's good for something. Without her money, she'd be completely useless. The laughter rolled again, louder this time. My pulse flooded my ears. The screen blurred. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd misheard. Maybe it was some cruel inside joke. But then Mom raised her glass. To Donna, the family cash cow. My thumb trembled as I paused the video. The last frame froze on Mom's smiling face. I could see the lipstick stain on her wineglass. She looked happy. A few seconds later, the message vanished. Deleted. But not before I'd already downloaded it. I stared at the file name, VID1M32MP4, and felt something precise and cold click into place inside me. Not anger yet, not grief, just clarity. I opened my laptop and called the mortgage company. The woman on the other end confirmed what I'd begun to suspect. Remaining balance, $18,000, 9 months left until full payoff. My stomach clenched. So, the loan's nearly done? Yes, ma'am, she said cheerfully. On schedule, assuming the next payment arrives by Monday. I thanked her and hung up. Then I opened a new folder on my desktop. I labeled it Maple Street, Truth. One by one, I pulled every digital receipt from my bank account. 48 payments of $2,000, each with a timestamp, each a month of my life reduced to a line item. I saved them as PDFs, chronological. I dug up every text where she'd acknowledged receiving the transfer, even the ones that just said, got it. Screenshotted them, cropped them clean. Evidence had a rhythm. It made the betrayal measurable. At 2:14 a.m., I stopped long enough to realize my hands were shaking. I hadn't cried. Maybe that was the strangest part. Some betrayals are so complete they leave no room for tears, just a hollow hum where belief used to be. Saturday morning, I took the bus downtown. The city felt sharp and bright, the air cold enough to sting. In a coffee shop window, my reflection looked like a stranger's. Tired eyes, unflinching mouth. I opened my notebook and began drafting a letter. It wasn't emotional. It was surgical. I wrote what she'd said in the video. I listed the payments, attached the files, included the clip itself. Then I made another list. Recipients. Every relative who'd ever whispered about my good job. Neighbors who still thought of Mom as the saintly nurse. Members of her church circle. The longer the list grew, the steadier my hand became. By Sunday night, the folder was complete. Organized, cross-referenced, undeniable. I sat in my dark living room, laptop glow on my face, and hovered over the send button. Mom's payment was due the next morning. I didn't transfer the money. I wanted to see who she became when the pipeline stopped. Monday at 9:04 a.m., the phone rang. Her name filled the screen. Mom. I let it ring twice before answering. Hi. Her voice was brisk, practiced worry. Donna, the mortgage is due today. Did something happen with the transfer? I'm not sending it. Silence expanded between us. What do you mean you're not sending it? I'm tired of being your cash cow. The pause that followed felt like the air itself stopped breathing. Where did you hear that? Uncle Martin sent me a video by accident. I heard everything, Mom, every word you said. Donna, that was just talk, she said quickly, voice trembling toward a laugh. You know how family dinners get. People joke. I heard your tone. It wasn't a joke. She tried again, softer now. I didn't mean it like that. You've been such a blessing to me. I was just... Stop. My voice surprised me, calm and final. I'm done. And I hung up. The apartment stayed silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator. Then I opened my email. Attach the letter. Attach the evidence. Attach the video. One by one, I filled the toe field with every name on my list. My finger hovered for a heartbeat. Send. The whir of the laptop fan filled the room, the tiny mechanical exhale of release. I leaned back and waited for the fallout, knowing it was already on its way. The first vibration came less than 10 minutes after I hit send. By the time I reached for my phone, it was already trembling again, and again, an incoming swarm of calls, texts, and unread notifications stacking faster than I could swipe. Uncle Martin's message arrived first. Donna, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for you to hear that. I swear it was a mistake. Please, call me. Then, Aunt Deborah, you're making private family matters public. Take the video down before you regret it. Candace's text hit harder. You've destroyed Mom. Are you happy now? I didn't answer any of them. I just sat on my couch with the phone buzzing like a trapped wasp beside me. The hum of it felt like a soundtrack to the years I'd spent keeping quiet. By mid-afternoon, my inbox had filled with replies from Mom's church friends. Some were shocked, others defensive, a few cruelly polite. Your mother loves you, Donna. She just has a temper. But one email, short and formal, made my stomach twist. From Linda C., Church Treasurer. Subject, confidential inquiry. Donna, I received your message and the attached documents. I need to ask, have you indeed been paying your mother's mortgage for the last 4 years? I typed back before I could overthink it. Yes, $2,000 every month since 2019. Her reply came within minutes. Your mother has also been receiving $1,000 a month from our benevolence fund for the past 3 years. She told us her children refused to help. We will have to investigate this matter further. I reread it twice. The words didn't settle. They burned. While I'd been skipping lunches, my mother had been cashing charity checks and lying about me. That night, my phone lit up with Mom's name again. I let it go to voicemail. Her message began calm and ended cracked. How could you do this to me? You've humiliated me in front of everyone. You've ruined my reputation. I wanted to call back and scream that she'd ruined mine first. Instead, I saved the voicemail into the same folder as everything else. Evidence wasn't emotional. It was armor. The next morning, I walked into my office to find a storm waiting. Candace stood in the lobby, her face flushed with fury. You think you're some hero? She spat. You've destroyed Mom's life because you couldn't handle a joke. Candace, I said quietly, glancing at the watching coworkers, you need to leave. You always wanted to be the victim. Congratulations, you finally are. Security approached. Ma'am, you need to step outside. She struggled against them, still yelling, You're tearing this family apart, as they guided her through the glass doors. Everyone stared at me. I managed a brittle smile and walked back to my desk. My hands trembled so hard I could barely type. The HR email about incident documentation arrived before lunch. By evening, I called my lawyer friend Jennifer, the only person whose voice I trusted to sound calm when mine couldn't. After hearing everything, she exhaled. You need a restraining order. Showing up at your workplace is harassment. She's my sister. And she's unstable right now, Jennifer said. Protect yourself. Document everything. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. My screen reflected a woman I barely recognized, eyes ringed in exhaustion, but sharp with purpose. That night, my cousin Ashley reached out. I hadn't spoken to her in years, not since Dad's funeral. Her text was simple. Can we talk? I owe you something. We met at a small cafe near my apartment. She arrived clutching a tote bag like a shield. 2 years ago, she began, your mom told me she was going to lose the house. Said neither you nor Candace were helping her. She asked me for $15,000. I gave it to her. My mouth went dry. Did she ever pay you back? Ashley shook her head. Not a penny. I didn't push it. She's family, right? But when I saw your email, I realized she lied to me too. She looked up, eyes glistening. I'm so sorry, Donna. It's not your fault. If you need me to testify, I will. I wanted to thank her, but my throat closed. Gratitude felt too fragile for what that moment was. A quiet admission that the lie had spread further than I'd ever known. By the end of the week, the church investigation had begun. I learned this not from Mom, but from Linda, who called after evening service. Her voice was low, but steady. We've reviewed the records. Your mother received $35,000 from us under false pretenses. The council will be demanding full repayment. My mind went blank. Will there be legal consequences? She finished. Likely. We've already contacted the police. For a long moment, I couldn't speak. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, a heavy, foreign sadness pressed against my ribs. It wasn't pity. It was fatigue. The next day, Mom made her move. A Facebook post appeared with a photo of her and Candace, smiling from some old picnic. My own child has betrayed me. She's spreading lies to destroy her family. I raised her, loved her, and this is how she repays me. Hundreds of reactions followed. Some offered sympathy. Others, the ones who'd seen my email, left quiet, surgical comments. I saw the video, Marjorie. Maybe you should tell the whole story. Mom deleted the post a few hours later, but screenshots traveled faster than guilt. That weekend, I stopped answering calls. I turned off notifications, muted group chats, unplugged the doorbell camera. Silence wasn't peace, but it was a start. When Uncle Martin finally reached me again, his voice sounded smaller. Your mom's not doing well. She's drinking, won't leave the house. She did this to herself. I know, he hesitated, but she's still your mother. I know that too, I said. That's what makes it worse. The next morning, I stood by my window, watching the buses crawl past. Austin's sunlight poured across the glass, harsh and clear, illuminating the single coffee mug left on my counter. 4 years of servitude, and this was all that remained. One mug, one empty apartment, and a story that had detonated like a grenade inside my family. But something in me had shifted. I wasn't shrinking anymore. I wasn't apologizing for the explosion. The world had heard the truth, and the truth, once spoken, doesn't crawl back into silence. 2 weeks later, the consequences arrived. Not as thunder, but as paperwork. Linda from the church called first. Her tone was clipped, but not unkind. Donna, the council concluded its investigation. Your mother fraudulently received $35,000 from the benevolence fund. We're demanding full repayment and referring the matter to the police. I pressed the phone tighter to my ear. So, she's facing criminal charges? Probation is likely if she cooperates. Jail time if she doesn't. After the call ended, I stood in my kitchen, phone still in my hand, feeling the edges of relief and grief scrape against each other. My mother had built her entire image on being the self-sacrificing nurse, the woman who gave until it hurt. Now, the truth was carved into official reports, greed disguised as need. By the following Monday, Mom's Facebook returned with a vengeance. New posts every few hours. Each one a sermon of victimhood. My ungrateful daughter destroyed me. God will judge those who shame their parents. The comments were chaos. Half condemnation, half defense. Someone from church wrote, "You took from the need fund, Marjorie. That's not judgment. That's justice." Candace jumped into every thread, wielding loyalty like a blade. "Stop attacking my mother. Donna's just bitter because she's alone." I didn't reply. The more they shouted, the quieter I became. 3 days later, I saw Mom in person for the first time since the explosion. I was pushing a cart through the grocery store, half asleep after a 10-hour workday, when I spotted her near the produce section. Her hair hung limp, her clothes mismatched. A half-empty bottle of cheap wine peeked from her basket. She froze when she saw me. "Donna," she said, voice trembling. "Please, can we talk?" I didn't move. "About what?" "The church wants their money back. The bank's starting foreclosure. Candace won't help. I made mistakes, but I'm still your mother." I looked at her, the lines carved by bitterness, not time. "You didn't just make mistakes. You lied. You stole. You called me useless and laughed while I paid your bills." Her expression shifted, desperate softening giving way to anger. "You're cruel, just like your father, vindictive and selfish." "No," I said quietly. "I'm nothing like Dad. He loved me, and you never loved either of us. You just loved what we gave you." She flinched. For a moment, I thought she might cry. Instead, she hissed, "You'll regret this," and walked away. I didn't chase her. The next morning, Jennifer called. "Your mother's lawyer just contacted me," she said. "They're filing a lawsuit, intentional infliction of emotional distress and defamation. They want a public apology and $100,000. I laughed, a short, disbelieving sound. "She's suing me?" "Looks that way. Don't worry, I'll file a counterclaim. We'll demand repayment of every mortgage payment plus damages. It's bluff warfare. She's trying to regain control." The words made sense, but my body still shook. I'd spent so many years trying to avoid being the reason for conflict. Now I was the conflict. For weeks, the air itself felt tense. Papers, phone calls, meetings. Jennifer drafted responses while I reread every piece of evidence, making sure no emotion slipped into the record. The court wanted facts, not feelings. Then a letter arrived from Mom, handwritten. The pen had bled through the paper, her words wandering from apology to accusation and back again. "Please help me save the house. I made mistakes, but I'm still your mother. Please, Donna, don't let them take it." I folded the pages carefully and set them aside. That night, I wrote my own reply. It was short, 3 sentences. "I forgive you for my own peace of mind, but forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You have to live with the consequences of your choices." I mailed it the next morning and felt a strange calm as the envelope slid into the slot. 2 weeks later, Jennifer called again. "Your mother's lawyer wants to settle. They'll drop the lawsuit if you agree not to pursue repayment of the $96,000. I stared out the office window at the sprawl of Austin, the sun baking the glass towers gold. "So she keeps the money I sent her?" "Yes, but you avoid trial. No legal fees, no headlines. You can move on." I hesitated. $96,000 was 4 years of sacrifice, but the idea of another year chained to courtrooms made my stomach turn. "Tell them I accept." "Are you sure?" "I just want it over." Jennifer sighed softly. "Okay, I'll handle it." The settlement finalized a week later. The lawsuit vanished as if it had never existed. The mortgage company proceeded with foreclosure. I followed the process online, detached. Notices, listings, auction schedules. The house at 1847 Maple Street, the one I'd saved, the one that had devoured my paychecks, sold in less than 5 minutes. Uncle Martin called to update me. After paying the bank, she still got about 40 grand. She used it to buy a small house on the outskirts of town. Deborah's helping her fix it up. I pictured it. Peeling paint, sagging porch, the ghost of grandeur fading under the Texas sun. Somehow it felt poetic. But the story wasn't done yet. A month later, Linda called again. "The church concluded the case. Your mother pleaded guilty, 18 months probation, and full repayment of the $35,000. I whispered, "Thank you for telling me." After hanging up, I sat in silence for a long time. I thought about Mom writing checks to herself, lying to kind people who prayed for her. I thought about the nights I'd skipped dinner so she could keep that house. Justice didn't feel triumphant. It felt like closing a wound that would always leave a scar. Candace stopped speaking to me completely after the sentencing. She posted vague, venomous quotes online. Some people destroy their family for attention. She never mentioned me by name, but she didn't need to. The funny thing about exposure, it doesn't just destroy secrets. It shows who was comfortable living beside them. Months passed. My mother's name appeared in a small local paper under church fraud case settled. No photo, no drama, just a paragraph in black ink. For the first time, I didn't feel the need to read it twice. The truth was already mine. 6 months later, the noise was gone. No more headlines, no more messages, no more courtroom letters arriving like ghosts in the mail. just the sound of my own breathing in a life that finally belonged to me. The settlement money I'd never received had become a kind of phantom inheritance, proof that peace was worth more than repayment. The mortgage was gone, the house sold, and with it the weight of obligation that had followed me since I was 28. Mom's name came up only through other people. Uncle Martin told me she was living in a faded yellow house at the edge of town. "It's small," he said. "Roof leaks when it rains, but she's making do. She got a job at a grocery store, stocks shelves in the mornings, cleans offices at night." He paused, and I could hear the guilt in his silence. "She's drinking more, keeps to herself." I didn't ask him to stop telling me. I just didn't ask him to continue either. Some information finds its own way to you, even when you stop looking. A week later, Ashley called. "I saw your mom at the store," she said softly. "She looked different, thinner, tired." I thanked her for letting me know. Then I changed the subject to her kids, her job, the weather, safe topics that didn't bleed. Candace disappeared not long after. Uncle Martin said she'd cut off Mom once the money ran out. "It's funny," he said bitterly. "She defended her so hard until there was nothing left to gain." It didn't surprise me. Candace had always been transactional. Every hug, every favor, a negotiation she didn't bother to disguise. Meanwhile, my own life was finally moving forward. My boss called me into his office one morning, smiling like he had good news he couldn't wait to share. "Donna, you've been holding this department together. We're promoting you to senior purchasing manager." For the first time in years, I felt my chest expand without guilt. I accepted. The raise was generous, the office bright and spacious, with a window that overlooked the city skyline. I spent my first lunch break there just staring out, watching the buses crawl down Congress Avenue, the sunlight glinting off buildings that suddenly seemed full of possibility. With the extra income, I moved out of my cramped apartment into a bigger one. One bedroom still, but filled with light. White walls, clean lines, a view of the hills beyond Austin. I bought new furniture, simple but mine, and for the first time I didn't flinch when swiping my card. I started therapy. Dr. Chen was gentle but firm, the kind of woman who could read truth between half-finished sentences. "You've been trained to earn love through sacrifice," she told me, "but love that costs your peace isn't love, it's survival." Those words stuck with me. Every session peeled away another layer of inherited guilt until I could finally look at my reflection and not see debt. I began to travel. Small trips at first. Colorado for hiking, California for the ocean, New York for a Broadway show I'd once streamed on my laptop. Each time I took a photo. Not for social media, just proof that I existed beyond someone else's narrative. And then there was Marcus. We met at a coffee shop near my office. He was a software engineer, tall, kind-eyed, with the sort of patience that didn't need to announce itself. He listened, really listened. We started meeting every Thursday after work, then weekends, then everywhere in between. 3 months in, he asked about my family. "Do you talk to your mother?" he said one morning, over pancakes and coffee at my kitchen counter. I hesitated. "No, I haven't spoken to her in nearly a year." "Do you miss her?" I thought about it for a long time. "No," I said finally. "I miss the idea of having a mother, but not her." He nodded, not pushing. "That's honest." "Honesty's the only thing I have left," I said quietly. He reached across the counter and took my hand. "Then it's enough." We didn't talk about it again. Some subjects belonged to the silence between heartbeats. Weeks passed in a rhythm that felt almost normal. Work, dinners, laughter, sleep. Until one Saturday afternoon, life tested the wound one last time. I was at the grocery store, the same one where she worked, though I didn't realize it until I turned a corner and there she was. She stood by the soup aisle, holding a basket with bread, canned beans, and a bottle of cheap wine. She looked smaller, almost translucent under the fluorescent lights. Her hair had lost its color, her hands trembled slightly as she reached for a shelf. Our eyes met. Neither of us moved. Then, without a word, she set the basket down and walked away. I stood there for a while, staring at the abandoned groceries, waiting for anger or pity or something to bloom. But nothing came, just a quiet, steady peace. When I got home, Marcus was waiting, barefoot, coffee mug in hand. He looked up and smiled. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "I saw her." He didn't ask for details. He didn't need to. That night, we cooked dinner together. Chicken, rice, laughter. The air smelled like rosemary and something close to freedom. Later, as we sat on the balcony, city lights flickering like distant stars, I realized the strangest thing of all. I no longer needed closure. Because sometimes peace doesn't come from reconciliation, it comes from release. For years, I'd spent myself trying to prove I was worth love that was never offered freely. I'd paid her mortgage, her debts, her image. I'd given everything, and all it earned me was silence disguised as gratitude. Now the silence was mine, and it was beautiful. I looked out at the skyline, the hum of the city beneath me, and whispered to the night, not in bitterness, but in finality. I'm done trying to earn what should have been given. And for the first time, the words didn't sound like surrender. They sounded like freedom.